So Immortal Wars is a franchise now, and part 2 came out just today on DVD, and I got to watch it. Now, I saw the original Immortal Wars pretty much by accident at Walmart, and I watched it and did a review of it. And I won't lie, I didn't love it the first time I watched it. I thought it was just fine. I had some criticisms for it, and I actually rewatched it fairly recently to prepare for the release of this. And I've liked it more upon further viewings because I've been able to pay attention to stuff kind of going on in the background and really to appreciate the world and to appreciate some of the small directing things that goes on. And I do like a lot of the character moments in the first one, and there are still some small issues that I have with it. I would absolutely recommend this to somebody who is a fan of comic book movies, because this world feels like, while it takes some inspiration from X-Men and Hunger Games, maybe even a little bit from Mortal Kombat, it feels like its own thing. It feels like there is so much love put into this franchise. Over the past year, I've gotten to do a little bit of reading, and I've followed director Jo Lujan and Jackie Gerhardy, the main actress who plays Trikalypse. I've followed them both through social media and have kind of gotten to see the behind the scenes stuff through their Instagram and Facebook, and it was a lot of fun to see all the hard work they put into this sequel, and I was really excited, and I just think it's really inspiring. And the director wrote the original comic book series, and I think it's inspiring. He is getting to adapt his comic book series into a movie franchise. I think that's really cool. As a guy who has wanted to direct movies since I was 15, I've gotten to write 5 books, and adapting those into a movie at some point in my future life, and it's something I'm working towards, and it's exciting to see new directors adapting their own work. But how is Resurgence? How does it compare to the original? How is it as a sequel? I thought that this film was superior to the original in every way, and that it took all the strong elements from the first film and really built upon it. I think that the cast and crew has really gotten into their game. It's sort of like comparing Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2. It's sort of like comparing that freshman year to your senior year, where you've learned so much more and you've really gotten to put your talents to the test. Because, I mean, right off the bat, the first 20 minutes are really exciting. It picks up right where the first one left off. There's a fight between Trikalypse and the, I guess, grand champion of sorts, and we get to see that fight. And the fight is great. It's really well done. I was super impressed. Jackie Gerhardy is a badass. So we get to see that fight and how it pans out, and within the first 20 minutes, these resistance fighters are trying to get the remaining deviants out, and they're also trying to get Trikalypse out as well, and eventually they escape, and they sort of take them to their underground base and fill in Trikalypse and the other deviants and tell them exactly what is going on. So the rest of the film is Trikalypse and the resistance, which is sort of a mix of humans and deviants, trying to figure out how to stop Dominion and his company, because he pretty much owns everything on the planet and has had the entire planet glued to their TV screens watching the Immortal Wars. And they've devised this plan to take him down, essentially, to sort of put it to the man of sorts. And I don't want to give too many plot details away, because there was a lot that I genuinely wasn't expecting. There were a lot of directions that I didn't think the film was going to take, but I was glad it did. And there's a lot of really cool sequences from that first 20 minutes all the way till the end of the film. So let's go with the acting. I think the acting is really good and really strong in this film. I think that Jackie Gerhardy is a great lead actress. I think she is great as Trikalypse. She really shines in this film. I think that she has absolutely made the character her own. And the thing I like about Trikalypse is that she is, while she's a reluctant hero, she's not a hero that hates being a hero. She's afraid of her own powers at times, but it's not like she doesn't want to help. It's not like she's like, well, I don't give a shit, but I'm kind of forced in this situation. No, she genuinely cares about people, and that's why she's sort of afraid to go 110% when she's in battle, because she genuinely doesn't want to kill anybody. In fact, when she first meets the Resistance, she is like, we can't just blow up buildings and go all willy-nilly, because innocent people will die, and if innocent people die, we're no better than Dominion. And I thought that was a really great moment for her. She is a hero for everyone, and I think the fact that not everybody loves her at first, it's not like when she shows up to the Resistance camp that they're like, everybody's like, oh, awesome, our savior is here. It's not a lot of that. It's about a 50-50 thing. You know, there are people that are glad that she's there, and there are other people that are like, I don't know about this chick. She's got a lot of power, and I mean, she really kicked ass in the games. Are we sure we can trust her? She seems kind of dangerous, and it's sort of compelling to see her win these people over, and oftentimes maybe even not. And it's a struggle for her because she doesn't want to be feared by everybody, and she goes through a lot of really great character moments. And there's a lot of really great moments where she gets to kick ass, but she has a lot of vulnerability as well. She's not just completely unstoppable. She has moments where she really has to dig deep in order to succeed in the task she's trying to accomplish. And I'm excited to see where that goes in the third movie. I'm just waiting for her to have that hero moment. I did that epic hero moment, kind of like in Spider-Man 2 when he stops the train. I'm waiting for Trikalypse to have that hero moment, and I just need it. I don't know why, I just need it. And I think the supporting cast is really good as well. And I won't spoil certain things because mentioning character names might spoil some certain things, and I don't want to do that because, again, it was a plot point that I wasn't really expecting. But there's a gentleman who is sort of the second in command of the Resistance, and he's a human, and he sort of takes a liking to Trikalypse, and he is sort of the one that she confides in a lot. And I was like rolling my eyes thinking, oh, this is going to become a love triangle, and thankfully it doesn't. He's a really cool character as well, and he's extremely likable, and really when the heroes and even the villains are using their powers, it's a lot of fun to watch them like fight back and forth, because it's not just people constantly throwing stuff at each other. There's a lot of unique powers on display, and there's even some like horror elements to it too. I see a horror movie in director Lujan's future. I think that would be a really good move for him, because there's a lot of like frightening moments, and the story does take moments to breathe. The thing that I noticed about the first film is that it's very dark, gritty, dry, and hopeless. There's not really any humor that I can remember, but there are some funny parts between the characters in Resurgence. It's not like Marvel level, but it's enough to make the characters give a shit about each other, because I mean, they essentially become friends, and what's the point of fighting for each other if you don't care about each other? So having humorous moments where it breaks the tension and makes the characters closer, I think was very fitting, and there was a couple of moments where I laughed out loud. Eric Roberts is great. He brings a sort of seriousness and gravity to the film. He's somewhere in the middle between his Dark Knight performance and his Expendables performance, where you got like a serious performance and a fun, hammy one. He's like right in the middle. It's like the perfect mesh of fun Eric Roberts and evil Eric Roberts. It's a good mix. He is a really good villain, and I think it says a lot about him that he is in a indie film like this, and that he is not just phoning it in, because a lot of A-list actors would do just that. And he's great as the villain. He's great as Dominion. I really have enjoyed him in both these films. He doesn't just feel like another Jon Snow ripoff. He feels like his own character. He feels like Eric Roberts. That's who he is, and that's what he's great at doing. The set design. I thought the set design was really interesting. The world got to be expanded upon a little bit more, because they weren't just stuck in the games. It was more of them going outside into the world, which is not a fun place anymore. It's very down and dirty. It's very abandoned in places, and I just love the way the camera moves and the direction when it shows. There's just like a lot of really cool lighting. I don't know how exactly to put my finger on it, but there's some very Dario Argento moments where is lighting that you don't see that often, where characters are lit in blue and reds and greens, and it's not stuff that you see. I mean, it's clearly a fantasy film, so I think seeing those elements really hammers that home. And I think the directing is really strong. I think he shoots action scenes even better in this sequel. There you get to see all the fighting, and the slow motion isn't overused. It's used to the film's strength. There's a lot of cool moments with dodging and stuff. It's not overkill with the slow motion. There's plenty of hand-to-hand combat stuff on display. But it almost seems like there's less action in this movie, but I didn't mind that so much. I thought that taking more time to get to know these characters, especially Trikalypse, was a breath of fresh air. It doesn't feel like, while this film absolutely goes bigger as far as scale and where they go, it doesn't feel like there is this need to make everything the same size as the Avengers or the X-Men films. It is comfortable being its own thing. It is comfortable being a superhero indie film, and that doesn't drag down the film at all. I really enjoyed watching this. I think that this will be a frequent repeat watching for me, and I think it is a great sequel in every way. I think it is superior to the original, and I think that the cast, crew, and the director are really have something here, and I'm excited to see what else they do with the Vanquisher property and to see where it goes into the third film. And I really enjoyed my experience watching this film, and I would encourage people who are wanting to get their books or their comics or whatever adapted to a film to check this series out and hopefully find the same inspiration that I did. You don't necessarily need a big studio or a big budget. Depending on what you're wanting to do, you can start out small. I mean, really, you can start working on it today. Start working on the screenplay, or start adapting books and write a couple books or comic books, and eventually down the road maybe look more seriously into getting a film adaptation. I think with how the internet is, and with more smaller studios popping up, there is possibilities for indie directors, actors wanting to get into the business to find more work, and I think that's awesome. If you're creative and you can find the willpower to do it, you can make it happen. So what if it's not, in the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time? If you have something to say as a creator, you have an obligation to yourself to get your creativity out there. And there's an audience for everybody. You can bring joy to one person. I think it's worth it to get your content out there. That's my spiel on creativity and how great it is. If you've seen the original film, comment below, let me know what you thought. What's your favorite indie film? If you're gonna watch Immortal Wars Resurgence, which I would recommend, come back, let me know what you thought. My new book, The Legacy, is available on ebook and paperback. You can check out the links for that below. Thanks as always for watching. Bye.